was Gavaskar, the real master. Just like a wall, we couldn't know Gavaskar at all. Not at all. You know the West Indies couldn't know Gavaskar at all.
Yo, are we messing up the start yet again? Do you remember what episode number we're on?
I'm going to give you the silent treatment for a minute while you figure all of that out.
No, I'm asking you to figure it out.
Oh, we're on episode 55. I already knows.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Welcome back to the No Balls Cricket Podcast. We have, as usual, been missing in action while the summer rode on.
Yeah.
And I do believe our last episode was while India was
Australia.
still in Australia.
Yeah, it was, I think either previewing the last test or reviewing MCG or whatever. And then of course we took our usual IPL hiatus.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
Yeah, nobody wants to watch that. That doesn't exist. It doesn't happen.
what's happened in the meantime? India won a Champions Trophy. I guess that's something we probably did care about.
Yeah, but it was rigged, so it doesn't count. Moving
Correct.
on. Well, I mean, we stole the final from Pakistan. I guess that was the only meaningful event that occurred. Meanwhile, guess what? Test cricket's back. So guess who else is also back? Us.
In time, not just in time for the start of the India-England series.
Just in time. Well, we missed. Well, not even in time for the start of that. In time for the second test.
That's the point. That's the
Yeah.
point.
Anyway, welcome to the No Balls Cricket Pod. Welcome back to the No Balls Cricket Podcast. This is episode 55. In case you've forgotten who we are, since we haven't been around very much, these are the Penguin Blinders. My name is Siddharth Pradhan. That talking head is an idiot. His name is Aditya Devrat. He used to be a journalist. Now he's a streamer. I don't know. Are you a streamer?
No, I wish I could do streaming actually. You know what? Something.
Well,
In fact, you know what I'll do? I discovered there's a local tennis club that I want to join nearby, and the tennis club is like partly run by some West Indian people who also do cricket there. So I'm gonna let me stream myself learning how to play cricket, relearning how to
bro,
play
you don't
cricket.
have enough athletic ability to bowl off spin. How are you going to play tennis?
Oh, no, I used to play tennis as a kid. I still play
Yeah, but
occasionally.
when you had athletic ability, that ship has sailed.
Yeah, we'll see.
Anyway,
The tennis is not the point here. The cricket is the point.
so then why are you even pretending to join a tennis club? Just call it a cricket club and get on with life.
No. I'm going to play tennis, but I'm also going to play cricket just to see if I can become a streamer.
And I promise you, your coach will want to kill himself. Moving on. Uh, anyway, uh, with all of that in mind, since we've all been caught up with what's going on in our lives, um, let's swing into the roundup.
Yeah, the big thing that happened, we will get into India England the first test, obviously, but the big thing that happened was the World Test Championship final, which was won by the good guys, because we all hate Australia. Yeah, South Africa finally ended their wait for an ICC trophy. Came close to choking, I guess. But you thought they would in their chase, but
I
uh,
thought they would, but you know what? To be fair, for once, they actually never did. It was a pretty tall chase, high score to be made in the game, but the pitch deadened out, flattened out by that point. And
yeah,
Aiden Markram probably played the innings of his life. I mean, it was sensational. He made 138, didn't give them a single chance. It was brilliant. And Temba Bavuma on one leg, basically, because he pulled a hamstring and then was basically hobbling along. So I guess the only comparison you can make is like basically to a dwarf on one leg. But anyway,
um,
um, and
yeah.
I guess Aiden Markram was his Snow White and he was the dwarf. So you figure that one out on their own.
This sounds like we should probably stop talking on this. We
I'm
just
going
not
to leave it at
expanding
that.
on that analogy right
I'm
now.
going to leave it at that. I mean, he's tiny, but whatever. He won the game.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, it just proved that Australia are human after all. Big changes were obviously um, going to be brought in for them after that game.
Yeah.
And
I
yeah,
mean,
pretty
they
much. I
still
mean,
they still can't figure out the opening. After bringing in Sam Consist just to fuck with Bumrah, they dropped him again and they put Manes up to open just so they could put Cameron Green back in at three. I don't know what they're
Yeah,
doing.
I mean, it's all. Listen, they did all sorts of shit. They could have still won that game, but they
They
didn't.
could have still won that game. That
Yeah,
is very true.
thank
Shout
God.
out to Kagiso Rabada who found some time between doing lines of cocaine to take 9 wickets. Um,
Yeah, and also shout out to the ultimate supervillain, Jay Shetty. Sorry, Jay Shah, who basically made
who
his
won the
own montage.
who
Who
won
made
the
his who
no, no,
made
no,
his
Jay Shah
own
won the World Test
montage
Championship
video.
final, right? Jay Shah won the final. That's what I got from that video. Anyway, yes, Jay Shah's video.
Yes, we made dwarf jokes. Jay Shah had the best super. I mean, he in the. I promise you, there was this period on Instagram where they just came out and it was like, is this a video of the World Test Championship final, or is this
That's
a video? Is this a Jay
that's
Shah
what I'm
montage?
saying. No, that's why I mean. That's what I mean. Jay Shah won the final, and that's what that video is for.
Yeah, I mean, Jay Shah won at life. That's the point. But anyway, he is
Big big
now.
moment in South Africa finally to get that monkey off their back.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and
Well done
also
to
with
South Africa.
Temba as captain, I think that's historic for them,
I think that's
given
huge for Temba and for South Africa in general, for a black
yeah,
captain now to have won a world, well, something or the other, World Cup in rugby and another World Test Championship with Temba, to do it as a black captain, I think, and in a sport where historically, not just were blacks not allowed to play, but even in the more sort of post-apartheid history of South Africa, um, cricket's been one of those sports that has still resisted, until
it's
it
a
was sort of,
yeah, like
yeah,
transformation has been such a controversial thing for them with like,
yeah,
and every black player who's played has been like a lightning rod for undue criticism or over the top criticism because it's always felt like they were almost a quota pick, and I think for
yeah.
that for someone like Temba to come out of that for everything he's had to hear over the years. He genuinely has been one of the best performers of this World Test Championship cycle. Um, and I mean that with the bat, and of course doing that while also captaining South Africa and getting a trophy, it's huge.
Yeah, I mean, they had a bit, they've had a rough ride. And what was it that the great cricketer said? They called them that you've beaten this. Oh, this was a brilliant quote. Um, Pezza said that South Africa, in order to reach the World Test Championship final, had to beat the Spina Bifida threes.
What? This
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The Spina Bifida threes. I'm not even like that's their actual code. And then, of course, subsequent to that, he ate his words. So,
yeah, they did have a somewhat easy path. That is fair, but
yeah,
still.
Spina, that's what he said. No, Spina Bifida threes. Sri Lanka and Pakistan, basically.
Um,
Anyway, Australia then, of course, have gone from there and flown into the Caribbean and have been involved in what can only be called one of the most bizarre weeks of cricket that I've ever experienced an Australian side to be in. They dropped Marnus Labuschagne. Steve Smith was out with a broken finger. They got Shamar Joseph. The West Indies then got basically Daryl ahead by an umpire from South Africa. There's a word that begins with R. I'm not going to go into that. That's an allegation I don't really want, but I can say dwarf on this show for some reason. Um,
right.
and uh, amongst all of that, Shamar Joseph then apparently having rape allegations against him by
Yeah.
11 different women, believe that or not. Um, and this entire maelstrom ends with Australia winning by a lot.
Yeah. So it starts off with them getting bowled out for 1-8.
Yeah, yeah.
And we knew, and let's not even say that because I think the Shamar Joseph allegations came out before the match even started.
No,
Um,
if I'm not wrong, I saw the report on the first day.
okay, maybe it was day one.
Yeah, it was day
Um,
one.
which like, I mean, what do you even say at this stage? Really, like, I'm hoping he just gets dropped and then the only way he makes it back into the side is if he's like completely exonerated, which is highly unlikely. Um, in the meantime, looking at the actual cricket, I don't know what Australia were doing with their selection. With this whole Cameron Green obsession of we need to get him, and now we're batting him at three. It's not really paying. It's not really working for them. Um,
Can I say something?
Go on.
I think it's a very popular opinion at this point. But for fuck's sake, Cricket Australia, wake up. Cameron Green is not a three.
There's so you know what who this reminds me of, right? Okay, let me finish my sentence and then you tell me who this player reminds you of. They're so enamored of this one player's talent that they will do whatever they can to shoehorn him into the
Oh
side
my
and make
God.
sure he
Wait, which Indian opener are you referring to?
It could be. Currently, we're talking about KL Rahul.
Yeah, currently it's KL Rao, or the Wank Pheasant, as we like to call him on this channel.
Honestly, why not just have Cameron Green open? I mean, Khwaja's going to be retiring soon enough. If you really need to
Didn't he,
shoehorn him,
dude? Wait, hang on. I think he even did that in one test match.
just have him open. If you have to
Um,
shoehorn him, don't send Steve Smith up to open or Labuschagne up to open or drop Labuschagne or whatever. Like, I don't know what all these
I mean,
shenanigans are.
Labuschagne deserved to be dropped, but Manas' career has been
Well,
on a.
yeah, he's been
It's
on a
like Kohli's was a downward spiral. Manas is a death spiral.
yeah,
Um,
he's been on a slump.
he's fairly is well deserved to be dropped. Um,
That's
but you know when we were discussing the Australia series and we said that cupboard was bare.
I mean, look, now they basically are now playing two wicket keepers in their 11 with Josh Inglis also there alongside Alex Carey. They've got like Cameron Green and Cameron Green Light and Bo Webster. Only Bo Webster might actually be a better Test cricketer at this point. Um,
But
they
but
they have
can,
barely managed to scrape together two openers, and that's by bringing Constance back.
yeah, but you didn't let me finish. You just went off on a rant as fucking usual. Um, what I was going to say is Australia do have something nice and shiny and bright in the cupboard. The problem is it's literally the only thing in the cupboard.
Which is what?
Cameron
Because
Green.
he's not even in the cupboard anymore. He's out there.
Yeah,
He's there.
they've now pulled him
They've brought him
out
out.
and he's like on display and everything.
Right.
He's like at the
That-
number three
They
slot. Oh
don't.
my God, let's
Look,
have a look at
that's
him.
why you thought I was going off on a rant. I'm just telling you, they don't have anything in the cupboard. That's why they're
Yeah, they
shoehorning
don't.
wicket and other players into open and whatever.
Anyway, all that aside, Australia's selection conundrums aside, it was honestly, if nothing else had gone on, it would have been a very entertaining test match with a very predictable result,
Correct. Yeah.
right? But then there was all of the nonsense with Shamar Joseph on one side, and there was all of the nonsense with Adrian Holstock as third umpire on the other. Where I mean, there were a couple of decisions where I'm just like, yo, like, is this man like trained or is he blind? Like even
Darren
what
Sammy's
was
got
it?
points for very justified criticism of the
Oh,
umpiring
yo,
action.
I'm not lying. I saw some of those and I man, I was shook. Like I was like, whoa, what the hell is that? Anyway, but yeah, it's like I said, in another era, it would be called racism, like straight up called racism. Um, Now with the TV cameras and on the glare on Holstock, he probably doesn't keep his place on the ICC elite panel. Much like, funnily enough, the last man to get kicked off was West Indian.
um,
I've forgotten his name for the life of me now. I've forgotten his name.
oh, we're not talking about Steve Buckner. Sorry, I thought that was a Steve
No,
Buckner
no, no.
reference.
We're not talking about Steve Buckner. We're talking about the last bloke who got kicked off the panel this year.
Um,
What is his
I
name,
think
man? He's a West Indian umpire.
Joel Wilson. That's who
Joel
you mean.
Wilson. Thank you. That's the one. Anyway, so yeah, there were a couple. There was a catch. There was an LBW that. So the catch he gave not out looked like Shai Hope had caught it. So that was -1. Then there was an LBW shout where the ball was clearly edged, but given out. But then Snicko showed the edge, but it was still not overturned. Make sense?
I mean, I follow what you're saying. Does it make sense? No.
Okay, you followed what I said. You kind of got the description, and then Carey had one, and I mean, as the English would say, same old Aussies, always cheating. Um,
Did he run someone
Car-
out? Easily?
no, Carey had a catch which was looked like he grasped it, and it was given out, and Holstock upheld
That's
the.
a that's a very long-standing Aussie practice, though, to claim catches you haven't actually caught.
Yeah, but now they've paid off the South Africans. I'm surprised they didn't chuck the sandpaper straight back at them. Anyway, um, yeah, so that was that test match. And that's really pretty much most of the test cricket that's gone on. South Africa have then gone over to Zimbabwe and are playing them.
They should
They're
win.
pretty much they're winning that game. They've debuted a few people. Luandre Pretorius has made a century on test debut. That's the big news coming out of there. He looks a real
He's,
player.
I think he's the second or third youngest South African to have a Test century on debut. Yeah, they basically just rested a bunch of people after the World Test Championship final and still gotten. I mean, to be fair, they're facing Zimbabwe, but they're playing well.
And then the only other series that actually occurred was Sri Lanka versus Bangladesh. The first test was drawn.
Oh,
But the
yes.
notable thing from that score draw in Gaul was when Shanto got his 100, he threw the ball straight at him. He's celebrating his century and he gets a. I'm going to put a clip in. It is absolutely hilarious. Someone has thrown the ball at his balls while he's celebrating his 100. And it's just like, can this rivalry get any more bizarre? Like it's already breached levels of like
The Nagin
just
Davi never fails to
the
disappoint.
Nagin Derby never fails to entertain, but it did fail to entertain with a score draw. And then Sri Lanka did what everybody should be doing to Bangladesh. They spanked them all over in that next game, won by innings. That was pretty much it.
The really notable thing there is Angelo Matthews retiring from
And
Test.
Angelo Matthews retiring as well, but of course that takes backseat to the
Yeah, everything
yeah.
takes backseat.
Oh yeah, for sure.
We have 20
Anyway,
minutes. Let's
we
get
now have 15 minutes to discuss India versus England, and then we
yes.
have exactly 5 minutes to give our No Balls award, which has been won by.
Jaspreet Bumrah. It's okay, fine.
Yeah, we'll just give it away. Fine, we'll just do the.
Okay.
You know what? Let's do the award first. This is
Uh,
my favorite segment of the evening. You've sucked all the fun out of it. This is the No Balls Cricket Awards.
I didn't do anything. Um, we can get there. Just
Okay,
have something.
we'll get there.
Okay.
India versus
India.
England.
As we know, the first series without Kohli and Rohit, with both of them having retired from Tests, Shubman Gill was made captain. Somewhat controversial choice, I guess. No one was even convinced that he should be a guaranteed spot in the 11 with his recent batting.
Wow, he shut them up, didn't he? Bloody hell.
He did. With that innings, he did. We also have gone in with I guess, I don't know if this is the best pace attack available to us, but if it is, then that's shocking.
You pretty much answered your question. um,
I just don't know what I have been a big advocate of Prasidh Krishna, but until he figures out his lengths and lines for Test cricket, this is what's going to happen to him.
which length? The short ball outside off stump, the half
Correct.
volley on the guy's pads. Which length? Which
Correct.
length are you talking about?
He's like, if Ishant Sharma were worse, this is who he would be.
No, he's also if Ishant Sharma's radar was the equivalent of like, I don't know, a blind man trying to do surgery.
I think a blind man would be able to find his way around a human body better than Prasidh Krishna can find off stump.
Jesus, that's how bad it was. Anyway, let's just cut it short. There was a lot of stuff that went on around the test match. India's first test in English conditions, blah 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 blah. Headingley, all of that. and we get possibly one of the flattest pitches I have ever seen in England, and we still lose.
And we get possibly one of the most generous toss decisions. Where, I mean, I know Ben Stokes always loves to chase and whatever, but quite frankly, at the end of day one, it looked like he had made the biggest blunder of his career. And
No, I mean, look, they got back into the game because our tail got blown. We made, what was it? First innings, it was 7 for. It was a combined, and this was a statistic that somebody else put up. It was a combined 72 for 13 across 2 innings. Those were the collapses. And these are from positions of 330 odd for 4 in the second innings and 430 something for 3 in the first.
Yeah, it was what, 7 for 41 or something in the
The first was
first.
7 for 41 or something crazy like that.
Yep. Basically, that was an innings where we should have been getting to 600, and instead we just got past 400.
No, we got
Should have-
470.
All right. Should have gotten to 600 is my point.
Yeah, we should have gotten to 600. I mean, Shubman Gill did not need to end Shoaib Bashir. He tried, and then he got out.
Yeah. More to the point, I don't think we ever need to end Shoaib Bashir. Let England keep picking him.
Keep picking him,
It's
right?
good for us.
Anyway, notable things from that. So the first innings basically became a one-off shootout. England got Bumrah, otherwise I don't know how many they would have gotten. In the first inning.
But we also dropped several catches they probably shouldn't even have gotten to within 10 runs of
Oh yeah, we dropped 5 catches. Jaiswal was like so bad. I think there was a point where everyone was like, "This man can't even catch feelings at this hour."
And we said Jaiswal, a really good catcher in India. I think he's just not like we've seen him with some drops in Australia and now here. I think he's just you have to sort of be able to adjust to being outside of India for your slip catching.
Yeah. Anyway, so all of that happened. We got a lead of 6 at the end of it. We then KL Rahul plays pretty well to make 100 in the second innings, and Rishabh Pant got 2 in the game. He's the first Indian wicketkeeper to do that, by the way.
Yeah, you want to know a great Rishabh Pant stat though?
What?
Not a single one of the matches in which he scored a century away from home has India won.
That really isn't his fault.
I don't. Not at all.
Yeah.
I'm not blaming him. This is not Sachin
Yeah.
gets only gets his runs and doesn't contribute to win things. I'm just
No, look, I said this about Rishabh Pant way back when he first made his debut, which is now like 7 or 8 years ago. He's basically the second coming of Jesus Christ. So sorry, I meant Gilchrist.
Don't call Adam Gilchrist Jesus Christ. That's a bit much.
He's got Christ in his name. His nickname was Church.
Moving on.
Anyway, but yeah, we've known this about Pant. So Pant, Rishabh Pant being consistent in Test cricket is not a surprising fact. What surprised me was Shubman Gill's captaincy in the second innings reeked of inexperience. He was chasing the ball a bit. But Ben Duckett played phenomenally well. I mean, there's no question about that. It was a great inning. That one. Jasprit Bumrah's
uninspiring. Though.
Jasprit Bumrah's no ball probably cost us about 100 runs. Harry Brook got 99. He was on naught.
Yeah.
And I mean, not being able to defend 370 on the final day was a bit.
It's the second time in a row, right? This happened in that one-off test / end of test series back in 2022. It's like right early Bazball stages. Well, again, I think it was at Edgbaston. They chased 360 or 370, whatever it was.
I mean, that was a phenomenally slow wicket. This one wasn't. There was a bit of something. Siraj was bad in the first innings, but he was very unlucky in the second. I thought he bowled really well. And then Jadeja, as good as a bowler as Ravi Jadeja is, he has proven overseas that he's not capable of using a 50 wicket to his advantage.
Yeah, he's not. He's very much away from home. His role seems to be more like plugging up an end rather than
he's not an attacking bowler away from home.
Yeah, rather than being a genuine attacking bowler. And I mean, it's also I think you've played so much Test cricket at some point you kind of become a little stuck in your ways. Like it was very obvious what he needed to do on day five, and it took him half the day to figure it out. Like he
Yeah, it
just
took an inordinately long amount of time to figure it out. And then the funny bit was on day five, the men you expect to take wickets was Siraj and Bumrah just didn't get any.
I know, shocking.
Yeah.
Somehow Shardul gets two and Prasidh Krishna gets two, and
Shardul got the two most Shardul wickets you've ever seen. Two half volleys, one that was hit straight to cover, and one that was a strangle down the leg side.
that's he's the big question mark, right? Because I don't think any. I mean, maybe Prasidh gets swapped out for Arshdeep, unless Jasprit Bumrah doesn't play, in which case Bumrah gets swapped out. But whether it's Shardul or Nitish Kumar Reddy in the next test, I think that's got to be. Shardul didn't do a lot of bowling, and he didn't offer much with the bat. And in the middle of those batting collapses, I think that also makes a big difference. You're playing him at eight.
I mean, he got out twice playing basically the same shot. It was like, I mean, Virat Kohli is gone, but Shardul Thakur is still going to drive at something on six stump. Um, and then nick it to first slip or whatever. But like I think the point was that if Shardul was going to bowl 20 overs an inning in a game like
Correct.
this where you're bowling 100 overs, if he's going to give you 10, 15 overs an inning, maybe not 20 overs, but 10, 15 overs an inning, there's a value in playing him with six. But he bowled what, 6 overs in the first inning, and then 8 or 9 in the second, which is nowhere near enough.
Yeah. And also he is, I mean, I know we have the whole Lord Shardul thing, but he's much more effective when the ball is newer. And if we are going to make him a
Yeah,
fourth or even fifth bowler, that means he's never going to get a chance to do what he's best at with the ball. With the
yeah,
bat, it's
absolutely.
like his runs are a bonus. If he can score a good 30, 40 at sometimes, that's what you're expecting.
Yeah.
Um,
Um, So that's really India. I mean, there's a couple of conundrums. Obviously, Shardul's spot. Karun Nair didn't have a great game, but I think he's earned having at least another 2 or 3 test matches. So I'm not really going to go into that spot. Sai Sudarshan was on debut, strangled down the leg side, then batted well in the second inning, but didn't really do much else. Both the openers got hundreds. We didn't even speak about Jaiswal's. It was a really good inning. At the top of the test match. He's now got 100 on his first trip to the West Indies, first trip to Australia, and now first trip to England.
yeah.
In the first test of each of those series. That's something. Um, and yeah, so a lot of things that about the batting that shone through were things that we already knew and were wholly unsurprising. Like Jadeja struggling with the tail, for example. That also we knew. That also happened twice. England, honestly, I thought they were great because there's some sort of evolution of baseball that's gone on where they're not trying to slog everything. It was way more controlled. And if you notice, the run rate didn't really climb above five and a half and over.
Yeah, it was, and that's why, Zach Crawley, who somehow in the middle had turned into a basher, but both innings was just much more measured and controlled.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's the evolution.
But that's the evolution. I think Ben Duckett and Duckett leaving balls, number one, and then Harry
Yeah.
Brooks inning in the first really kind of defined it. I thought his was the way because he would leave. I mean, he would block or leave quite a few deliveries, and then he just to disrupt would every once in a while, chip down or smack one over the top or do something baseball like. But it wasn't happening every ball, so it kind of made sense. I think they batted superbly in that second innings to chase down 370. Obviously, having Joe Root come in with the score on whatever, like 290 or something or like that, it helps. But yeah, I mean, I thought England were fantastic in that. And they also had the more potent bowling attack. I mean, Bryden Carr has
Yeah.
shown that he can hammer the back of a surface. Josh Tong's good to the tail. The only real question mark is have they picked the wrong middle-aged bloke?
As opposed to, who's the
The
other
bloke they
option?
forced to retire.
I mean, I'm not sure James Anderson by cricketing standards counts as middle-aged anymore. He's old. Chris Wokes is sure middle-aged.
Chris Wokes is 37. He's just as like I mean, he seems old as well. But anyway, um, but yeah, that's really it. And I mean, sure, Bashir is just How they thought that was a good idea, I'll never know. But he bought them wickets. He
Tall.
literally
That's
bought
the
them
thing. He's
wickets.
tall. His release points are high. That's the technical analysis of. Sure, but she still continues to struggle in county cricket and yet gets is an automatic pick for the Test side. I don't know what they're making out of it. He did get to fight for against Zimbabwe or whatever, but and obviously had that
I
series in
mean,
India.
honestly, unless Jack Leach's Crohn's disease or some injury is so debilitating that he can't walk, I think they should play one of them.
I think he should stay in the 11. We should gift a wicket or two every match to him so that he keeps getting picked. After we've bashed him a bit. I think Shubman Gill had the right. I think Shubman Gill had the right idea. Get out to him. He just needed his other batters to back him up after that.
Which they didn't. And he needed his bowlers to be able to bat, but of course they can't. Um, but there's a lot of talk about politically motivated team selections in the Indian camp, which is again conversation for another time. Not getting into it right now. Um,
Real question,
and
obviously, the real question is Bumrah because we've been told he's only playing 3 tests this series. So then does he play the second test or not? Or is it first, third, and fifth? I mean, if we're 3-1 down by the time the fifth test rolls around, then he's obviously not going to play that. So you may as
he's
well.
coming in. Look, he's got to play that Edgeworth. No, I don't see us winning that game if he doesn't, because there's no way the
Just
rest
win
of the bowling
any
attacks.
game now, honestly. But
I mean, I was amazed that Akashdeep didn't play, especially in English conditions.
I really do want to see him in for Prasidh Krishna, honestly, in the next test.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
Bumrah in.
Yeah. I mean, Ashdeep's tempting with the left arm and everything, but I would have still gone for Akashdeep instead of Prasidh if they really wanted to sort of have that. Um, Jofra Archer might play. That would be fun.
No, I think England today ruled him out of the second test, but he
Oh,
is
okay.
back in.
Yeah, he's back in the squad, so that should be fun. Obviously lengthens their tail a bit. Mark Wood obviously is not going to be fit till the fifth test. He's doing commentary over for Sky. So yeah. Also, revolutionary Stuart Broad is on the commentary panel. He's been fantastic, like
He is
throughout the
quite
game.
fun. He is quite fun to listen to.
He is
Uh,
very, very. I quite like that. And then obviously the rest of this. I mean, Sky commentary team is just on its own
Genuinely,
league at the moment. On their broadcasting superb. They've obviously added Ravi and DK for the series, so they're just brilliant as well.
DK going out in Leeds was also pretty fun watching. I
Yeah,
don't know if you would see that, but yeah.
right. With that in mind, let us move on because we are now approaching the last 5 minutes. So let us move on to my
Okay,
favorite segment.
very quickly, do your predictions for the second test for the rest of the series.
Do my predictions. Basically, if
What was
India
your
win
what
the
was your previous prediction? Just by the way,
what
before the
was
first
my
test, before the first test, what was the prediction for you?
I actually didn't predict anything. I sort of stumbled upon the first test. But now I'm going to say I think England win 3-1.
Yeah, I also have England winning, and I thought it would be like a 2-2 with maybe some English rain, letting us get a draw somewhere. But I think now it's probably going to be 3-1.
No, they'll produce flat pitches and it's going to end up being 3-1. They're not going to risk it. And especially after the way they chase that score down, I think with the bowling attack that India have, I think it just makes a lot of sense. But, pull out flat pitches in front of them, force them to do something strange like playing Kuldeep Yadav with Lords or something like that. And yeah, they made president from what 2018, 7 years
Yeah, I
ago.
was gonna, yeah.
But do something strange like that, and they should win. I think India might make a test when they really do get Bumrah. But about that's about it.
Yep.
Yeah, we're in concurrence. Anyway, let's go on. So,
To your favorite segment
my
of the
favorite segment, I'm waiting for this. My favorite segment of the evening, which is what is it? What is it? What is it? It is sponsored by Penguin Blinders. It is the No Balls
I
Cricket.
will say, by the way, that's a great t-shirt.
Yeah, I love that. The No Balls Cricket Awards. Take it away. We have two, by the way.
We have two? I only know
Yeah.
about the Bumrah one. Who else are we
Well,
talking
you
about?
go for that, and I'll give the other one.
All right. So what was it? End of day two? Uh, was it end of day two or was it end of day three? Can't
No, it was
remember
end of
which.
day two. End of day two.
End of day two, India have just taken a wicket. Harry Brook comes to the crease. Bumrah's got his tail up. Just spitting fire at everyone. Looks like he's gotten a wicket in the last over of the day. Harry Brook plays a terrible shot. By the way. Tries to hook him for some reason in front of square with like 2 balls left in the day. Gets caught at mid-on.
Yeah, it was the one fucking catch we took that day.
And then, of course, the dreaded umpire signal came out that Jasprit Bumrah had overstepped. A multi-time winner of this award.
Lifetime achievement we've already given him. The second award goes to none other than my favorite cricketer of all time. Not of all time, of the present era. Only one man can do this. What is the most bizarre way of getting to 50?
Bizarre way of getting to 50? I don't know. Trying to reverse sweep and top edging the third man.
No, we saw that. That was stupid. No. Rishabh Pant, by the way, winner of this award for shithousery, decides on 49 that since Chris Wokes is not that quick, he is going to slog sweep him. So he tries. There's only one problem. He doesn't connect. He does connect, but not out of the middle of the bat. He basically tries to slog sweep Chris Wokes for 6 over mid-wicket. He ends up literally towing him past the stumps for 4 to get to 50.
Oh, yeah, I did see this.
It's just like, I'm looking like, it is so Rishabh Pant, it's hilarious.
Note?
Anyway, we have somehow made it in time. That is the biggest achievement of today.
Yes.
And
special award to us.
On that very, very, very happy note, because I got Debra to shut the fuck up for the change. It is time to end this episode. It's been a bizarre one because we've covered a lot in about 40 minutes. But yeah, like, share, subscribe, say cheese, do all of that. You know the drill. Have a good one.
See you guys.
It was Gavaskar, the real master, just like a wall. We couldn't know Gavaskar at all, not at all. You know the West Indies couldn't know Gavaskar at all.